Hey everybody, this is Brody from Brody's Garage. Today is April 29th, 2025. This is episode 69. Well, hey everybody, it's good to be back here, episode 69.
69.
And it's been almost 6 months since my last episode, and the reason for that primarily has been because the engine had to come back out of the car. I dropped it off at a machine shop where it sat for about 4 months before they were able to get to it. I wish I could tell you that there were some serious red flags from what I was experiencing before with the white vapor coming out the tailpipe and weird compression test readings and stuff like that. They didn't really find any telltale signs. They ended up doing a very light cleanup hone of the cylinders. They said the crosshatch was not right from the previous time. They put in new rings, new bearings. The rod bearings, they said, were too wide and they were like not right for the chamfer of the radius on the journals. So they ended up giving me a narrower bearing. They did a very light align honing through the main caps. And they redid my rotating assembly balance. They said that it was out by, I want to say it was 7 grams or something like that on each end. Bottom line was there was nothing majorly wrong with it. No cracked block, no cracked heads, no leaky valve guides, nothing like that. They did do a cleanup cut of the deck, I think 4 thousandths like that. And then they reassembled the short block, gave it back to me. So a little unnerving because I was hoping there'd be some obvious thing that I could find wrong with it. Got it back home. I did a clean out of all the threads in the block. Reinstalled my studs, reinstalled my heads, new gaskets. Like I said, they put in new bearings, new rings, and got it running. And, you know, it was running a little rough when I first got it going. I did seek out some help from a remote tuner. And so with some tune refinements, getting it back running, basically I haven't really found anything majorly wrong with it. I did notice a little bit of vapor out the tailpipe the other day. And I'm starting to think that maybe it just has something to do with the fact that I'm running E85 fuel in it. It's nowhere near like it was before I pulled the engine out. There's no puff of smoke. Just a little light vapor. My dad was actually following me to the car show last weekend and he said he noticed it. We got it home and I could just barely see it. I've been out driving the car the last 2 days pretty extensively. I'm not noticing anything right now. The main thing has been just taking the car and getting it back on the road and putting some miles on it. I'm completely trying to take it easy right now and break the engine in properly, let the rings seat, do their thing before I rush to any more conclusions. I put on, I don't know, probably at least 80 miles in the last 2 days, taking it up the freeway. And today I took it out towards our very scenic Red Rock Canyon out here, which is not too far from where I live. Beautiful chance to get some photos and some video while I was out today. And I got to say, with every outing, I noticed something. I come back and tweak it. I was under the car today, tying up some things that were causing some rattles. I had a major save today. I was under the car looking for what was causing kind of a clunk in the front end. Turns out the driver's side lower ball joint, the nut was almost all the way backed off. And I realized why, because I remember I couldn't get the nut to tighten on because the spindle kept moving with it, even though I was trying to wedge something in there and pry against it, and I tried jacking up. I couldn't get the cotter pin in there. So the nut worked itself loose and was on its way out. And thank God I caught it in time, because that front end could have come loose and I could have wrecked this thing. I mean, it's just an amazing save. So thank you, dear Jesus. Anyway, that being said, I've been putting miles on the car. With every outing, it gets a little smoother. I feel like it's running better. I'm enjoying the car. I still have quite a bit of work to do with it, but I want to show you a couple of things that I've been working on while the engine was out that I'm actually kind of proud of. Okay, so as you recall, this is where we left off with the trunk. I had Jorge Fraga do a wonderful job with the upholstery. He built all these panels in the back of the trunk, including the little hideaway storage panel there and all these pop-out panels that frame in the trunk very nicely. And I'm going to go ahead and remove these now and show you what I've been working on behind here. All right, so please excuse the crudity of this model here, but I popped the panels out to show you what's behind everything right now, and it's still a little unfinished. I did make this electronics panel here, this hub. It's got all the junction blocks here for positive and negative. I've got a master cutoff switch. I've got the direct wires for the Holley Terminator X. They're supposed to stay connected to the battery at all times. We've got a series of relays up there. We've got some fuses for my audio system. And we have kind of a neat little multi-pin connector there for all my trigger in and output wires for the relays. So those go to the fuel pumps and the pump for the intercooler tank, which is this guy right here. This was something that I designed. I drew it up in SketchUp. I sent it off to Send Cut Send. They cut and bent the aluminum parts for me, sent it back. I ordered a cap from Rhodes Race Cars and a bunch of fittings, and had a great guy named Justin weld this all up for me. He works out in Pahrump for an off-road truck place. I'll put the name down below, but he did a fantastic job doing the aluminum TIG welding there. And I got it back, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. Drilled some holes, mounted it in the trunk. So basically what we have here is a tank that's about 4.5 gallons capacity, and it's filled with a antifreeze water mix. And from here we go through the trunk. By the way, pardon the vent, this is not finished yet. I just got the vent kind of looped around right now so it doesn't spill, but I'm gonna tie that up and route the vent tube somewhere neatly. So this goes down through a 16 AN fitting at the bottom that goes through the floorboard into a hose feeding a Davies Craig water pump, which is driven off one of these 30 amp relays here. From the pump, we travel forward and we come into the intercooler here, the TIC Performance intercooler. So the line comes in and feeds the intercooler right there from the tank or from the pump in the back, goes through the intercooler, comes out this front side of the intercooler right there, goes down very precariously, and comes up here to behind my bumper. We have a heat exchanger, you can see that right there, behind the bumper. And this was kind of a really proud moment for me because I really guessed at the size of this thing. It was kind of the most low profile one that I could find. It's from Edelbrock, and it just barely fits back there behind the bumper. So you can see the line coming from the intercooler comes into the heat exchanger right there, and I had to step up from 5/8 hose to 3/4 nipple, not nipple. It goes through the intercooler, comes out the other side, and returns back to the tank. So the real challenge here was I had to fabricate a new hood latch support brace, that little bracket that goes down right past there and bolts to the radiator core support. So you can see it's a tight fit, made out of, I think it's 3/4 inch square tubing. Made a little angle brace support there, welded a nut to the back side of it, and that's how it worked out for me. So I'm actually pretty proud of that. I'm still able to utilize my stock hood latch. I am still eventually going to add, I think, the 2 quick latch buttons in the hood as well, which are somewhere over there on the shelf. But that's another day and time. Right now, I'm actually pretty proud of this. So the water flows from the pump in the back, comes through the intercooler, picks up the heat from the hot air, goes down through the heat exchanger, cools off a little bit, and returns. The only thing I've not done yet is I'm just manually hooking up the wire right now for the pump, and I need to set that up on a trigger through the ECM or a toggle switch or something. But there's the engine. It's all back together, and I gotta say it's running pretty smooth. With very few refinements on the tune so far. I have not gotten into boost hardly at all yet. I've just taken it out for some freeway cruising and around town driving. I had a bad fan relay on one of my 2 fans, so it was getting pretty hot when I initially got it going. Figured that out, and since then it's been running at 185 degrees when I'm cruising, and it gets to about 195 when I'm sitting in traffic. So far so good. It's been 75-degree weather here. It's been really nice in Vegas, so it's been nice to get the car out of the garage. I ran a foam pad over it and took it to Cars and Coffee last Saturday. Got a lot of nice folks coming up and talk to me about the car. A lot of great people out there. And I started working on my seat belts. I've got the beginnings of my G-Force 5-point harness hooked up, just the lap belt portion of it so far. So those guys hook together, and then I'll have the shoulder straps that go and tie over the roll bar and a crotch belt down there. And I'm going to do that for the 2 front seats. I still need to have my center console made. Jorge has my dash pad, which I modified, and he's going to cover that in vinyl for me and stitch it up. And then the remaining items here is I've got to get my 2 side glass windows installed. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but the glass does not fit down in the channels. It's too wide. So by about 1/8 of an inch, I'm gonna try to shave the glass myself just by sanding it and polishing it up on one side and see if I can get it to drop down in there. And as soon as that fits, I can connect my power windows, get the wiring finished for that, put the door panels on, and be done with the doors. And I guess at that point, really, the interior is pretty much done once I get the console done as well. I have to finish the wiring for the stereo and the audio system. Right there is my little dual 8-inch subwoofer box, which mounts right up there on that shelf. And then I'll finish up the wiring. The trunk will be done. Got a nice little storage compartment there for extra stuff. And yeah, the car is starting to feel like a completed piece. Oh yeah, the other final item in the upholstery is going to be the rear package tray, which I think we're going to completely redo this as one solid piece and maybe redo the grills. You know, as much as I was proud of this little thing I did myself, I think we can do better than that. I've got to get the window trim to fit on the back. That was a little bit of a challenge the last time I tried. I'm debating about whether I want to do a custom emblem in the inlay there. There's a guy named Drew Nix that makes some really nice billet aluminum CNC machine pieces, and you can custom put whatever lettering, or have it say turbo or LS3 or whatever you want to say. So I'm still weighing out whether I want to do that or not. These tailpipes here, this was just something that I bought off the shelf, and they're a 3-inch to a 2x8 rectangular piece. They're okay, but they're not ultimately what I want. What I want is to have these completely, Frenched into the bumper with a lip that kind of comes out and looks, perfect and all that stuff. And so I'm still debating about what I'm going to do with all that stuff there. But I got to say, for the most part, the car is looking good. It's looking not perfect. There's still some issues with the trim here. I think this piece is sitting down too low, and it needs to come up a bit to match the door. But really, I mean, it's kind of there. The weather stripping here, I notice, is popping the hood up slightly, so the hood doesn't sit down flush like it used to. So maybe in time that'll kind of squash down, or maybe I'll just get rid of it and put something else in there. My wipers are functional. I'm waiting to touch up a little piece of paint that got nicked over there and put those on. We also have a little casualty here that happened when I was putting my door sill plates on. The drill slipped when I was drilling the holes, and I was stupid. I didn't have tape protecting it. But beyond that, the car is functional now. I've got the lights, turn signals working. Took it out today for a nice test drive, and it's getting a lot of attention. So yeah, I guess my next steps are to continue putting some miles on it and breaking the engine in. And when I feel like I've got maybe close to a few hundred miles on the engine, and I feel like it's stable and solid, I'm gonna replace the oil with synthetic, and I'm gonna get back with my tuner, and we're gonna start working on a boost strategy for this thing. I've got the CO2 bottle in the trunk now. It's just got to be filled up. The solenoids are run for the MAC valves. I've got a dome pressure sensor. I just got to finish up some wiring on that and do the setup in the Terminator software to get the boost control working and set up. I've also got a flex fuel sensor in line, which needs to be configured. But I think the foundation is there for a really nice car. When I was driving it, there are still a few vibrations and some noise things that I think I know where they're coming from. In fact, I'm pretty sure one of them is the tailpipes. I think when I was under the car today, I noticed the 3-inch exhaust going over the axle is just barely rubbing. and it kind of has that hollow sound as you're going down the road, and you can hear a little rattling. So I think that's what it is. I'm going to see if I can get this thing up on a lift somewhere and get a really good look at the underside. I'm also going to double check the driveline angles. I've got a stud, an axle stud that I had to get rid of because it was stripped. The splines were stripped and it was just spinning. I think I'm going to take them both out and put in screw-in studs all around just to be done with that issue. So yeah, little by little, hopefully it'll become a little bit more drivable, a little less noisy. When I get the side glass in, I won't have the air gushing in the car. But I would say for its first few outings since I got the engine back in, it's looking pretty promising. I think the white smoke issue, whatever it was, is gone. I will say this, when I was putting the engine back together, I noticed some rust, just a very light film of rust in the valley of the intake, the lower intake manifold, and that intercooler. Now keep in mind, I wasn't running coolant through that intercooler at all. It wasn't even plumbed at the time. So how was water or coolant getting in there? Unless it was getting sucked in externally. I did have a coolant leak that was in the front of the car. Is it possible that coolant was getting sucked in through the air filter and through the turbo? I don't know. All I can tell you is since I've got the engine back together, I think my problems are gone. And knock on wood, the remaining issues, the vibration, are just little things that I'm going to find along the way like I've been finding. So that's my update for now. I will hopefully by the next episode have the interior done, the glass done, the radio audio system working. I'll continue to refine the tune. I'll have broken the engine in at that point and be ready to start doing some full throttle passes on it and refining the tune even further. I've been using Chat GPT, by the way, lately, and it's crazy. I've been using it for like everything in my whole life, personal stuff to diagnosing problems with the car. It's crazy how elaborate and detailed and conversational and how fast it is. So I'm on Chat GPT 4. I went through several issues, including an issue that just got resolved today, which was my brake lights were on all the time whenever the car was running. Get the car started, the brake lights came on. Also, when I was out driving it the first few times, I was noticing the torque converter clutch was never locking in fourth gear like it's supposed to. Well, I found the problem. I drew up a little diagram here on the wall, kind of traced the wires that were in the brake light switch, and there was a fourth wire that was also tapped into this cold side of the brake light switch that was feeding 12 volts to it. So basically, it was sending constant voltage to my brake lights. It was sending 12 volts to my torque converter clutch, which the 12 volt activates the unlocking of the torque converter. And that's supposed to happen so that if you're driving in fourth gear, the converter's locked up, you hit the brakes, it unlocks the clutch. So it was always unlocked. So I fixed that today, and of course, it feels like it's a 5-speed now. When you're driving down the road, you hear it go to second, third, fourth gear, and then shortly afterwards, zoom, it settles in and it locks up that clutch, and it feels like it's got a 5th gear, and it's just cruising down the road at 70 miles an hour at like, I don't know, 2,300 RPM or something. It's great. So resolve that. Chat GPT has been helping me along the way. Thank you, Chat GPT. And yeah, all I can say is right now things are looking positive. I know that things could go wrong at any time, and even when this thing is done, I think there'll still be things that I wish I had done differently or that need to be fixed or improved upon. But right now, my feeling is one of optimism. So I think I will call this a day right now and go inside. And you all take care of yourselves, and I will see you on the next episode. Take care.